Greetings, it is I, Countess Narvan Dracovin, Lord and Emperor of the Dracovin Empire, and welcome. Today is time to continue our talks about Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, AD&D. I'm going to get back into talking about the combat rules. So let's just dive right back into it. I'm going to start with talking about fighting with two weapons. You're allowed to do it. You can fight with two weapons. The only difference between fighting with one weapon and two weapons is, of course, you get more than one attack, and that you get penalties. If I'm attacking with two weapons, of course, now first off, the weapon in my second hand has to be smaller than the one in the first hand. Now the other way is that you get -2 to this attack and -4 to this attack. Now let's talk about your movement in combat. The book lists different movement ratings for races. You get 10 times your movement rating in feet that you can move per round. Now if you choose to move half your speed, you can still make missile combat attacks. If you choose, you can actually charge into battle and get an extra 50% movement rate. This does leave you open though, but of course then you can get sort of bonuses to your attacking. On the other hand, you can withdraw from combat. You can move half your speed and move back. You can choose to flee and move up to your entire speed, but then you open yourself up to a free attack from the person you're fleeing from. Now they give some of the basics of disabling someone without killing them when in combat, basically knocking someone out. Now most of the way you're going to do that is through punching and wrestling moves. There's an entire chart that kind of is a D20 attack roll to figure out what your punch is, and it will tell you how much damage it does and what kind of percentage to knock out it does. And it also will give you an alternate wrestling version of that attack. So you sort of roll an attack and see what kind of attack you do. You roll a d20 and see what you're actually doing on the chart of like punching or wrestling moves. Now they do give the rules for overwhelming or overbearing someone. It's a lot of people attacking someone at once, and they give the basic rules of if you're doing that, if for some reason you're overwhelmed by sheer numbers, especially if you're trying to wrestle someone down to the ground and keep them alive. Now you can also try to fight non-lethally, which is their normal weapon. This, when you're doing this, you get -4 to hit. And that's choosing to do it non-lethally. And then it's going to be 50-50 damage, actually. 50% of that damage is going to be just normal lethal damage, and 50% of that damage is to be knocked towards knocking that character out. Now a creature with like a claw or bite could always attempt to do a non-lethal. They don't have to actually have like a weapon in hand to try to do it. So if they already have weapons in hand, they can always try to do it. Now, if you have some kind of spell which you have to touch someone in order to use it on them, if they're unwilling, you have to roll an attack roll against their AC. On the other hand, if they're willing, you just automatically deal it. So let's move on to talking about missiles, or missile combat. Now, weapons, of course, have rate of fire, and they have a range, and I've sort of talked about them before. Now, the other thing is, like, if you're hurling a weapon, you can use your strength to damage. If you're using certain types of ranged weapons, like a bow that's prepared for it, you can do strength, or certain types of crossbows. You can extra bonuses from dexterity with it. If you fire into a combat, you actually have a chance of hitting someone other than your intended target. So if some people are brawling it out, and you're like, I'm going to shoot an arrow into it, I might shoot one of my friends. And they give rules for that, too. Now you can incur cover and concealment, which would give you penalties to your attack rolls against hitting someone. Cover being like I'm behind something, I'm being missed by it. Concealment meaning I'm being hard to see because of some various reason, because of like maybe fog or darkness. They also give some basic rules on using grenade-like weapons. So if I'm chucking like a rock or a flask or something of the similar at someone, they give basic rules for doing that at someone. They are another type of missile attack I could do. Alright, so that's it for today. I've gone over some more of the basics. I talked a little bit about movement, attacking with more than one weapon, attacking with a spell, and some basics of missile combat. If you have any questions, comments, anything you want to say, anything you think I missed out, leave it in the comments below. Please like this video. It shows a great way of if you enjoyed it. It shows great support for the channel and the Empire. Please subscribe if you already haven't. We're always looking for more members, more citizens. Please share this video if you know anybody that would learn anything from it or would enjoy it. And until the next time, I bid you farewell.